Hello, Perfect Death here, and it's been quite a while since I've done a video on Ragnarok Online Mobile. Part of it is because there hasn't really been an instance that's really worth doing a video talking about, but we now have the airship instance, and with it comes some actual mechanics. You can't really rely on the DPS to just AFK clear you, so what the airship instance has are 3 boss waves. So we're currently on the first boss. This isn't one of the higher difficulty ones. We're currently trying to get one of our members up to some higher levels so that we can get the better rewards at the higher levels. And so, the first 2 waves you only face 1 boss, and then on the 3rd wave you face a 3rd. And there's some mechanics that mess with you. For example, we just spotted a lewd that showed up here. He is right here, and you can see we move or position over. The reason we're going by this staircase is to try and cause the enemies to funnel and group together. And then if you see a healer mob, we switch target to prioritize the healing mob. And we're also in a position where you notice there's a message that a sting had appeared. And so he will try to steal treasure chests that sit up on that top platform. 2 will pop up, and they're very easy to kill, but if you aren't paying attention, they'll take your treasure chests, and that reduces your score. The time it takes for you to clear will also determine your score, and how many deaths you have determines your score as well. So for every boss wave, for the first 2, we actually move down to this position just so we can try to funnel them. We move back a little bit, and so you can see the bosses are starting to show up, and they start to move along this side area here. And then once they come in, on my DA build, I am running basically like just a full support tank build. There are some useful buffs that happen to the Divine Avenger class. My Divine Protection AoE, it will now relink to other party members when they come back into the range of it, and as a result of that, they will gain the bonuses to healing that I share through that link, and also some of the damage reduction stuff. So but yeah, there are a couple of mobs that I want to try to prioritize tanking, because that's sort of my other role. Because the priest in these runs is usually running a convert build where they hit the boss and convert the boss into dark element. And as a result of that, I'm basically being more of the healer for the team rather than the priest being the healer. And then we have 4 DPS classes. So, and you can see here we're getting close to the 3rd boss wave, and we move up to this top platform. That way we get farther away. There's these fire elements that are on the far side where the boss spawns, and they bombard you with AoEs. So this area is safe from that. It also has a bit of a funnel to it where they funnel up the stairs, and you're also a lot closer to where the stings are dropping. Now we've got 2 bosses here, and one of them is cat safe. If you see these little like butterfly feathers, those are, if you touch those, you essentially bypass some of the cat's damage reductions. So you can pick up, I think, about 5 of those, and then you kind of cap out on that effect. So that's why some people will run over and grab them. Meanwhile, we keep an eye out for the types of mobs there are. And so aside from taunting, in this case, I'll sometimes be using my piety skill. That's the one next to my taunt. And I'll usually use that on my teammates. You can notice up in the top left, I've changed their armor element to holy. That has a side effect where it gives them 8% extra holy damage. And since the Wrath Greases and the Ronin that are our DPS in this run, they are primarily doing holy element damage. I'll also try to do my strength vow to boost somebody's strength every now and then. I have King's Guardian, that's an AoE that gives a bunch of elemental damage reductions. And I'll have my command charge, which gives everybody a move speed bonus. I'll usually try to save that for when we need the guy who's going to go take out the stings or the goblins that are, because goblins will spawn and try to damage the airship engine. So I'll give like a command charge boost to the teammates so that they can run and do that. Eventually, I'm pretty close to getting my Saintly Glaive, my spear weapon, to tier 5. That new tier upgrade gives me auto cast battle chant. Whenever I get hit, there's a chance I'll just auto cast battle chant to everybody. But it also gives it that if I use command charge, everybody in the team gets a 15% HP shield during command charge. So that could be very useful. But yeah, here, after a while, these mobs on the side, they accumulate, and taunt will interrupt their casting time. So assuming I don't get hit by the fear AoEs, I'll do that. One of the other things I've got is I equipped it's called a Jade Dragon Tail or something like that. It's a tail that does a stun and to anything that I hit. And we can say I got the double S on that one. We were very close to getting triple S, but we were just short of the time. I think we're like 20 seconds short. But yeah, I then have 2 Wraith Star cards, and those Wraith Star cards are 25% more stun duration. So that, in effect, gives me at least 5 seconds of stun that I can apply, and that tail has a 10-second cooldown from when it can stun somebody again. And sometimes the other members, like the other DPS guys, they will also equip stun tails as well, or something similar. So with that combo, you can potentially stop the healing mobs from healing, because they end up being one of the big challenges to getting a fast clear. Especially if you see one casting the Coloseo heal. That's a wide AoE heal that does percent HP heal to the boss relative to how much HP it's lost, which is huge for a boss, especially when you got him low health and a healer shows up and hits him with just one of those. Yeah. Now you can stop them from casting it because it has a cast time. They don't have instant cast on the mobs, but the taunt will cancel it. But if you can stun them, then they can't do anything else. So either are good. I'm mostly applying the stun through the use of the Twilight skill, as that has a 5-meter range to it. But I do have to have links with people with my Divine Protection. And it's usually on my second bar, so I don't really have it as my main bar, but it's there. So here we've got Lord of Dead. We're kind of waiting for him to move a little closer because we can see there's a lewd right at the front there. But so I'm going to try to get him in my taunt range just so he stays disabled. And I actually did my Twilight just recently, stunned a whole bunch of them. And we're kind of just ignoring the boss, but unfortunately the Saint got a little too far out of my heal range. And so the Saint died. And I end up actually going to revive the Saint. So in this particular, whenever you do every week, there's these affixes that get applied to the bosses, and this particular week one of the affixes is corruption. And so every time you hit the boss, it drops this poison cloud AoE on the ground. So I actually have a Chimera Star card for 100% poison resistance, so I'm not getting poisoned, but not everybody has one. The thing is I have all these healing effects. So right around me in the very middle, there's this big glowing AoE. That's from my auto guard. Whenever I block a hit, it has a chance of spawning one of these auras on the ground, and it heals quite a bit. So that plus my battle chant, I think it's it's really hard to see whose heal is whose. A lot of that is from the Wrath Greasy's heals, but I got like a 160 battle chant in there that I'm seeing, and I think my Glorious Guardian auto guard heal it's usually a little over 100k. It's like 110, I'd say. Now I also share whatever heal I get to anybody near me, so they get 2 ticks of heal whenever I heal them within my range. So that's part of how it gets really high. So yeah, you can see I was having some 160k battle chant heals. I do have I think it's the giant wing shield, and when I'm out of battle for about 5 seconds, every 5 seconds it'll heal me 5% of my HP, and so that's that 110 when I'm just out of battle. It doesn't work in battle, it only works outside. And I believe there's going to be a Watcher's Armor tier 5 that has the same effect, so you can potentially get like 10% heal per 5 seconds out of combat, which is kind of overkill for my heal build. Yeah, in this case there is Kaho. Now I can cancel some of his stuff, but you can kind of see every now and then like his cast bar will just get interrupted. One of his really annoying skills is Flame Backfire, and that is his reflect skill. So if he gets that off, he will reflect a bunch of damage. So that's pretty important to block that. And yeah, you can see the goblins showed up, and you can actually see on the speed on the right side how much damage the engine has accumulated, so it slows the ship down. When the boss is dead, then you're no longer going 0 speed. You'll start to make a little more progress. But once you've taken out all the mobs, then you can go full speed. And apparently these little dragon eggs that spawned here, they won't move, but they're really tanky. So we're trying to take these out just so we can get a faster score. And as you can see, we're also getting close to the 3rd stage. So when that happens, the next wave of bosses is going to show up. And so like right now, on our Discord, the guy's telling us like, go, 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 go. Because here comes the bosses. And yeah, you can see I might start buffing them. It depends if I remember. But yeah, there's Hermes here, so that's extra poison AoEs. I'm already immune to him, so. But he will target random people. And I think Gloom, he's not too annoying here because his damage reduction comes from these tears in reality that he usually causes, but he doesn't seem to spawn them here. But we do see, I think I saw a healer mob walk in, but this I think is just an orc wave, so they just damage gears. So it is, yeah, you do see, so he does open a tear. I guess we just insta-killed his tears. They mustn't be very strong in this instance. Some things get buffed in this, and some things don't. That cat, that Alice in Wonderland cat guy, his regular mobs are actually kind of a pushover, and because we don't deal a lot of damage, there's like a 98.5% damage reduction to these bosses in this instance. So damage reflection doesn't hurt very much because people don't do very much damage. So kind of ironic there. And so yeah, you can see we're trying to take these mobs out. Once we do that, then it's close to over. A couple of the orcs are making their way over here. Now, they did also buff the Holy Light Barrier. That's one of these other skills. It's the big bubble skill I've got right now. That one now provides auto attack damage reduction as well as skill damage. It's 20% plus 4% per link. So Yeah, we got only a double S because, again, we didn't quite, I think, well, because we had the one death and didn't quite clear fast enough, but we got the double S. So the next one is when we're gonna try to see how, if we can get that far. Spoilers, it's kind of a brutal one, if I remember correctly. This is mostly why I wanted to watch and see what was going on with this one. I think the first boss in this was Garm, and one of the other maps we could have done had a time holder in it, and whenever you hit time holder, he causes percent HP loss to you. That's you can't resist it, and that's really annoying to deal with here because he's so tanky. You can't just burst him down. Oh yeah, and these kobold archers, they are a healer. That's why we jumped and decided to focus entirely on them, and I used my stun on them, and we're trying to kill them right away. We have a couple of rough attempts on this because Garm is also really tough to fight. When his health gets low, he will actually self-heal himself. So we've got both these kobold archers, because another wave of kobolds just showed up. The mob types that show up is random. So if you're not lucky, you could just get a lot of healers. And then it's pretty much, if you can't kill the mobs fast enough, you can see I saw the stings show up and I used my command charge for the guy. But yeah, if you can't clear the mobs, you can't stop the heals, it gets really painful because you take too long, right? And so the boss just keeps getting healed back up. Even though I can stop them from using their Colo CO heal, I can't stop the regular heal. And I don't know how strong that is. I haven't actually looked, but... And yeah, then there's a human wave, and this one actually has the priests in it. So you can see they just did the Colo heal, and they just healed a chunk of the boss up. And now the boss, he's in his phase where he calls his arch shards down, and that's his self-heal phase. So we're trying to kill the priests, but while we're doing that, he is self-healing. You see he's now back up to half health. So it's like, this is bad. So that was basically 3 healer waves in a row. And we couldn't burst the boss down. He's now over like 80% of his health. So it's I'm pretty sure at this point we just decide bail. Because it's just we've essentially lost too much time to get a good grade on it. Even if you technically could burn him back down. Because yeah, he's now at full health. And that's largely because of these healers. There's one down here. I think there might be one further up. But yeah, she's doing heal. She also does song. And that's a group-wide Kyrie effect. And it just gives everybody a damage blocking shield. So at that point, we're just like, nope. We're gonna skip. We're gonna go and do another one. And so here we can see similar thing. We do get the 2 priests, but they are together at least because of that stair technique thing we did. It's pretty early on in the fight, so they're not really healing the boss very much because it's too early in the fight. And, we see there's another wave of humans, but there's no healer in their group. So that's good when you don't see healers. You see I just did my Twilight skill, and so I just procced a block, or a stun, to block their skills. So like a bunch of them on the sides. The Twilight has the same range as my AoE thingy has. So you can kind of use that to gauge where it is. So, but yeah, it managed to stun a pretty wide area stun at least. But some of these mobs can be really annoying for their effect. Yeah, I just got off another stun to them. And I know this guy, he does some damage reduction AoEs. I don't know if he has to link to do the Holy Light Barrier effect himself, because mine only works if I'm linked to people. But there is one called Selfless Shield, and that one indefinitely affects anybody in the area. So, but yeah, now we're seeing we're on the healing shard phase of the fight. And at this point, you know, he's going to start trying to heal back as we're trying to damage him. And I don't fully understand the mechanic behind his heal, like how do you stop it? Because you can see he's fighting, he's trying to heal it back. And, you know, we're fighting him for that point where it hits to the yellow. And then healer mobs just showed up, right? And so we're prioritizing them, which does kind of complicate it, but that's why some of the Wrath Greasy moved over to the side here so that their DPS AoEs can hit everybody. And you can see we're getting close to killing him, right? His HP bar is pretty much invisible. Yeah, my armor just got busted there. And there, he's down. Hooray. Now, he actually wasn't the worst of the bosses here. He was just really slow to kill. So we go over to this spot and we get ready for the next one. I start giving everybody holy armor. Some of my members have the Agriope card on, which gives them 50% poison resistance. But yeah, so in this fight, Mao Guai, I'm pretty sure he's the one who just murders us in this one. We don't actually get past him at all. You see, I'm just dying. Right? I have no way of stopping his AoEs, but you see I'm taking like 400k damage, HP loss. It's irresistible. It's something Mao Guai does. I don't think I can stop him from casting his AoEs. But yeah, it's absolutely brutal of a effect that he does. And yeah, he just keeps murdering everybody. So we're already at like 3 deaths. I just died. Technically the battery got me. I think they just did a last hit on me after I had a death blow trigger. Because yeah, he has this fire ice rain. That was actually Wastelord's Destruction Light. It was just really bad timing once my Resurrection immunity went down. That one hits for like 2 million damage if you can get it off. Normally, I can resist it quite a lot because it's a Dark Element skill. I did know that I had applied Piety to a bunch of my teammates, and that would have doubled the damage of Dark Element stuff. In the next fights, I don't do it because I'm like, is it because his Blasphemy skill is a Dark Element AoE? It doesn't hit that hard, and I have everybody with buffs that reduce damage from Dark anyway. I have lots of them, so it's like it shouldn't be that. But at the time I kind of forgot that Mao Guai is absolute BS for some reason. He's one of these minis that is just absurdly strong. I think he's a glass cannon, but in this instance, he's 98.5% damage reduction. So, not a whole lot you can do there. And so, we end up having to redo the fight against, Garm here. And again, there's some healers. We see this one, he actually, for some reason, gets kited away. I think something might have knocked him back, or who knows. But, the Garm fight is mostly just luck, whether or not you can get him down. You can burn him down before he gets too much healing done. And you just go through that, and we're back to this one. Let's see if I can get to the good start on it. Because there are times where it actually does say that the fire ice rain does kill me. But yeah, you can see him show up, and Let's see, that's like 2 ticks of damage that I could see. Okay, so I paused it perfectly. So that's like a 554999 or something, or 99. It's basically 554,000 damage, and then the other one is 439,000 damage. Now those 2 ticks of damage happen instantly, and there's like, and that's called Fire, Ice, Rain, Virtual Body defeated me, and so I can't even cancel that skill, right? It's like, I try to taunt it, but, well, for one, I can't really taunt it anymore because I don't have the Suffragium buff, so I can't taunt fast enough. But you can see he's still landing, and there's Wasteland Lord coming in with a 700k hit. That might have been his destruction light. So we do this a couple times, and then we're just like, no, Mao Guai is just too BS in this particular setting. It kind of reminded me of Owl Duke in Endless Tower, where in that instance, for some reason, Owl Duke would just hit like an absolute truck. When in the field, like, I could tank him no problem, but then in ET, he would just one-shot people, including me. And that was even with wearing like wind element armor, because all of his attacks were wind element, and he would just hit so hard. And so I've tried. I remember when Mao Guai first came out, I tried seeing about tanking him, but it became very clear that he doesn't have real element behind his damage. It's just HP loss, and there's no resisting it. So it's like, the stronger you are, the higher your HP is, the more damage he does. And so it's like, oh, yep. Because he kills everybody in like 2 ticks of damage, essentially. So, except, I mean, our Wrath Greasy have a flame feather thing. There are feathers which make them take only 20% damage, but it consumes a feather. And so as long as they keep moving around, they can keep their feathers up and they stay tanky, but they still have to somehow heal themselves. And yeah. So we don't really stick around with this. We just decide, you know what? No thanks. But there are different floors to the dungeon, and so there are different ways of progressing through, but at that point we had like 2 options: either fight Time Holder, who just percent HP loss on everybody, or this particular fight. This one looked okay, but then we kind of realized, wait, Mao Guai is not fun. We didn't quite have the DPS to burn him down fast enough. So anyway, there's a bunch of different types of affixes which can also totally change your playthrough. I had to keep a Chimera Star card on my armor so that I wouldn't die from the poison. So I guess we'll see. I don't know what the next week's affixes are going to be, but I get to find out. That'll be it for this video. Take care.